Hello, everybody. Welcome to the SAC Podcast. I am Ray's, joined by Jeannie. Got some fun things planned out today. Got a review of Tournament 4, the fourth qualifier. We've got an interview lined up with Zenith, the Silly Kitties, and then we're going to look towards finals and describe and lay out some of those teams. So let's get right into it. Jeannie, talk to me a little bit about the fourth qualifier.
Fourth qualifier, my goodness. I was number crunching all day, figuring out who was going to make it. And really, we had Healthy Diet Food Groups, Rabid, Silly Kitties, Watermelon, Mercy, IDK, and Armageddon all making gold bracket. All of them. Every single one of them. Which is crazy to think about. Because I just named 7 of our top 8 teams that are there. Axolot, and Axolot is the final team that did make Tournament 4 gold, but it was Synergy, who had already well and truly clinched their spot many moons ago.
many moons ago with their outstanding performance. So you were talking to me a little bit before the podcast starts about match number 4 in the fourth tournament of gold bracket, IDK versus Armageddon. You said that was a really important match to me. Yeah. Could you explain it to our lovely viewers at home?
Yeah, so IDK was on our bubble. They were one of our bubble teams that were on the outside looking in. Some of our tournament favorites who early on in the days, we had Stream Inspector, which was Watch Bochi the Rock. If you watched any of our tournaments, you would have known who they were. And who's the other team that just slipped out? Nawal, who had a third place and a fourth place in our first 2 tournaments and didn't play another one. They also slipped out just because of IDK winning that match 2-0 against Armageddon. Not even 2-0, just winning that and getting them some extra points. They solidified their spot. Even though they lost their semis match and lost the third place match, that didn't matter. They got those 10 extra points instead of getting 100 points. They got 110 points. Those extra 10 points actually put them ahead. And if Stream Spectre had have played and gotten silver bracket got the victory, they would have lost IDK by 5 points. That was it. That was a differential.
So IDK versus Armageddon really just, that was kind of the match to watch. We talked about it in last week's podcast, or the last podcast, where you're like, some of these teams are really close to competing. And IDK showed up for us and said, yeah, they're right, which is a little nice, but also, a little sad.
Yeah, we had one of our favored teams that had brought in a lot of viewers for us kind of bow out there, but that's A-okay. And IDK's run overall was really strong. They only lost 1 game during that run. It was to Mercy, which Mercy's been dominating all of our teams, which is a great segue to talk about Mercy's dominance in the last tournament. My goodness. They dropped 1 game all tournament. It was to Axolot in winners round 1. That was it. That was their only game the entire tournament, which is insane. They beat Synergy 2-0, IDK 2-0, Watermelon 2-0, IDK again 2-0, and Watermelon again 3-0.
Yeah, so this was another thing we were talking about before the podcast. We were like, No Mercy is really dominant. And I think if we gave out awards, which might happen, I don't know, I would probably put No Mercy up for like most improved team, just based on looking at their results. Because in tournaments 2 and 3, when they played, they were going fairly evenly. They're going to a lot of game 3s, and they were winning those game 3s, but they were still going to game 3s. In tournament 4, like you said, they lost one match in bracket, and then I think 1 match in groups.
No, they won. They 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. Then we move on to Top Cut. 2-1, 2-0, 3-0. That's it. A lot
Yeah.
of O's. Not even
Which,
maps.
like I said, they were already playing extremely well in tournaments 2 and 3, but the games were close. Like the set scores were close. But in tournament 4, they just went into overdrive. And they said, we want this. And we want it badly.
Yeah. For instance, qualifier 3, you look at it, they did have a lot closer games. Like in bracket, not in bracket. In Swiss, they dropped a game to Sweet Shop. Then they actually dropped a set. Their first set of the tournament series, they dropped to Healthy Diet Food Groups. Then they also dropped a game to Armageddon. They dropped a game to a Psycho, and then they lost again to Healthy Diet Food Groups, which that's only on overall. They only had 2 games where they 2-0'd. That's a lot more maps. More maps dropped.
Yeah, that's for sure, for certain. All right. So looking back at tournament 4, were there any other really important games that we don't want people to miss out on? Any close games, any games with implications that people might not have watched, but definitely should go look back on preparing for the finals?
Watermelon Healthy Diet Food Groups was really cool because that was actually a battle for Watermelon to get first seed. They still held on to their destiny, but then they had to beat Mercy, which they weren't able to do. But if Healthy Diet Food Groups won that, they would have also had a shot. It would have been a lot more distant shot, but they would have also had to beat Mercy. It was, that was a match that was between our third place team and our second place overall team going at it. And it was really, really cool to see Watermelon come up with the 2-0 victory. I wish that was a best of 5 because it definitely would have been, in my opinion, closer. Game 1 was hard because it was a map that was preset, which definitely favored Watermelon. And then game 2, the counter pick, it was really, really close. I believe it came down to only like 3 points or something like that.
Wow. So Healthy Diet couldn't quite push Watermelon over the edge to get to that game 3. Watermelon just squeaked through, barely securing the win.
Yeah, but they this is also after losing to Healthy Diet Food Groups twice in qualifier 3.
Wow. So that's, for Watermelon, that's a big comeback.
Yeah.
A nice turnaround. They've beaten a bracket demon, I suppose, to say.
Overall, groups. During the season, Healthy Diet versus Watermelon. Healthy Diet lost the first one. So Watermelon took the first one that's qualifier 2. They took it 2-1. And then lost both times in qualifier 3 to Healthy Diet Food Groups. That's the tournament that Healthy Diet Food Groups won. And then Watermelon beat Healthy Diet Food Groups 2-0 in qualifier 4.
Yeah.
So overall, they're 2-2, which is something we should watch out for. Also, we have to kind of update you, and I'm being bad at this. Watermelon is Centopia now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I forgot to say that, and written down in my notes, it's still Watermelon. But yeah, they will be Centopia going forward.
Okay. There was another team who changed their name moving into finals, I believe.
Yes.
IDK changed their name to Sanctuary?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's currently the 8th team in the standings. The team facing No Mercy at the beginning of finals changed their name from IDK to Sanctuary.
Yep.
So for the observant people, that is definitely something to be aware of. But do we think there's anything else to review for Tournament 3, or should we just...
I'm just trying to think, because overall, it's mostly talking about our top teams and how they did, because like only Axolot was the team that made gold that didn't actually make top 8 because they hadn't had results, strong results in the past, and Synergy had already had their spot locked down. So overall, it was really impressive to see the teams that are in top 8 make that final tournament and really have a good showing about it. I wish I could have seen like all the matches and seen how it played out, because it's just a miniature version of what we might expect to see. Probably not, because all these teams are going to have a lot more time to play and prepare, and it won't be after like a 2-hour Swiss stage. it'll just be fresh.
It'll
and
just
go
be
into
a
it.
double limb,
Yeah,
right?
you
From the
don't have those
get-go.
warm-up games, but we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think with all that being said, let's get Zenith in here. So a little introduction. The Zenith from Silly Kitties, Wiper player. They're currently 7th in the standings right now, and let's get them in here and get talking about finals.
Yeah. Hey,
All right.
yo.
What is up, Zenith? How are you doing?
Oh, hello. I'm doing pretty good. I'm on stream now. So
Yeah. All right. So I read the stuff you turned in for the commentator packet a little bit before the podcast, and one of the goals you outlined was win Division 4 of Ludi.
yes.
And I believe, if I'm correct, you guys did that. You guys won Division 4 of Ludi this season.
Yeah, we put that as our goal, and I mean we got it. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's huge. That's awesome.
I think we're the only team in finals that was Div4. I'm not sure about that, but I think so. No.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, okay. So before we really get going, slow down a little bit. Give us a quick introduction to like yourself and your team. Maybe a fact that people may or may not know from the Twitterverse. I don't know how much your team tweets.
Well, our captain likes to screw around on Twitter, so quite a lot. But I am the Wiper player for Silly Kitties, and I've played all of the tournaments so far. I think it's only me and Redcap that have played all of them. And Silly Kitties, we have a big roster. I think we have 6 people throughout the entire tournament. And well, let me think. I think only one of us has not played a single tournament, so we're pretty versatile. And like I said, we seeded Div 4, and then we picked up a dually player. His name's Woomy. He's like, there's a lot of people named Woomy, I know, so it's confusing.
Yeah.
He is the dually one, and we used to be on a team together. Me, him, and our current machine player, Ferrari Kid. So we have a lot of coordination, so that's fun. And I think us 3 have played most tournaments, so it definitely helps having previous experience.
Yeah, for certain.
Not many people know.
I imagine that also makes tilting a little bit harder because you guys have been around each other for so long. It's
oh man, tilting. That's a big issue. I'm not gonna lie. We we've been on a team together for almost 3 years in total, and yet we get pissed so easily. We all know it's unhelpful. We all know we try to avoid it, but like I gotta say, what's a team? Ozuna's team. I don't know. They used to go by. Crap. I don't know their current name. That's kind of embarrassing. But they play a triple shooter machine comp, and they're very good players. But it's also like we always tilt against that.
Yeah.
We fought them like 3 times in the past week, and we always lose, and we always tilt because it's just upsetting.
Yeah, triple shooter machine is always one of those things where I think right now, especially, there's just a soft spot in competitive players' mental. As soon as they see triple shooter machine, if you don't have a really, really strong mental fortitude, you're just gonna play worse into that because it's just like I said, a soft spot.
Hey, dude, it especially being the same team over and over again, because like, oh man, it's like, oh, we can't beat these guys down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually gonna be Sanctuary. That's IDK. We've got.
Oh yeah, Sanctuary.
Yeah, so that is our team that is currently 8th seed that will be playing up against No Mercy. That'll be an interesting matchup to see. Yeah, quick questions for you guys. What tournament do you feel like had the biggest motivation for you guys to like say like, hey, you know what, we can make this top 8 and we're just gonna like push really hard and put your best foot forward for the rest of the tournaments?
It was definitely either the very first or the final, because we reached gold bracket in both. And the first tournament, we beat like Vivid, Uwu. I think we beat Healthy Diet Food groups too. So it was a huge confidence booster. And we're like, hey, maybe we can get finals this season. And then when the fourth tournament rolled around, we also beat Armageddon. And it would have clinched a spot in gold. We immediately lost, so ignore that. But still, it was like, wow, okay, that's over 200 points. We can get finals.
Yeah, I was looking at this and I'm like, that first tournament was a mighty fine tournament, taking out Watch Bochi, Healthy Diet, and then going up against Armageddon. That's like the three-headed Hydra fate going up against those three teams back to back to back. Pretty crazy. And also going up against Synergy in that tournament.
Oh crap! Yeah, I think we lost to them, but they played well, so it's a good game.
Something else I also want to note, looking at the results, you guys lost to Armageddon in the first tournament, but then beat Armageddon in qualifiers 2 and 3. How did that feel?
We've fought Armageddon a lot, like over and over again, and it always feels good to beat them because they have a skilled not Hydra, but Splatling player, Kipu. Dude's crazy, but he like counters all of us. So whenever we beat them, we just get a huge motivation boost because it's like, oh hey, wow, we just beat a weapon that counters us. Of course, I gotta say Genesis on the Colvin. It's also terrifying. So
for sure. I'm curious, if you had to pick a rival out of the top 8, who would it be?
We fought all of them quite a few times in and out of SAC, but maybe either Healthy Diet or Morsi, because Healthy Diet, they beat us last time we fought them, but we won once before, and I don't know, they just feel good to fight. It's always fun. And then No Morsi is like, their players are really skilled, and I don't think we ever beat them, but feels like winnable games, you know? Like
it's fun to be the underdog.
Yeah, definitely. So wanting to beat them is definitely something that drives us.
Yeah, and actually, it doesn't look like you guys faced No Mercy or Mercy at all through SAC, which is
that's my bad.
Kind of crazy to think about.
We've definitely fought them outside. Like I think like weeklies, we fight them all the time, so we know how they play. So there.
And going forward into the next tournament, I know Raze and I were a little bit depressed. We thought there was going to be a patch, and it was going to be like, oh, spicy. We're going to have a patch right. Like we have all these 4 qualifiers, and then have a patch right before our top 8 playoffs. But it was more of just an update. There are 3 weapons that are coming in: the 96 Cal, the Zedfry Charger, and the Neo Splash, which are making for a good pun, a big splash on the competition. Do you think that's going to change any of your comp ideas?
We're a team of one tricks. I'm not gonna lie, we have full one tricks on our team. So the only new weapon that's been introduced is we have a support player, Ellie. He picked up the new Zap, and we like super chumps, so it's really fun to play with those. So not much will change, but we got a new support weapon, and it's fun.
Yeah, that's always one of the interesting things about one trick teams is after the patch, like the one tricks are like, okay, now how do I beat this? Like a lot of players are like, how do I work with this? But then I feel like the mindset, if you're not picking any of them up, is how do I dissect them as fast as possible? Like, is that the case for your team? Or do you guys just chill out and if you see it in solo queue, take notes? If not, just keep on trucking?
Well, it's definitely the case because having a Tetra and a Wiper one trick against Kraken is terrifying. I don't know if you played either of those weapons into it, but Tetra has end lag, and Wiper, if you're stamping, you just die instantly. So we are terrified. Any Gale teams or like Kraken roller, it's gonna be a challenge. But aside from that, maybe ZF Charger might be a threat, but I think it'll be fine.
ZF Charger is definitely one of the stronger weapons coming out of this patch. I will say that with relative certainty.
Who would have guessed that Tri-Strike is better than Inkvac? No one ever would have said that.
I mean, it's also a part of the wall, though. Because wall gives Charger a bunch of staying power. So, like, if you have a really good Charger, they can just afford to take more risk now because it's not as risky as long as you throw that wall out in front of it. Which can put a damper on aggression from team like Zenith's team with the Tetra and Wiper.
True.
Especially like Gale in the past, full scales now with the wall. You know, it's just walls us out. So Charger can definitely have the same ability. Main terrifying thing.
And I don't really think there's not too much I need to talk to you about maps on. It's you guys gonna be really excited for our double elimination now because we've been doing Swiss in singles, which have made the stakes extremely high. Do you think that you're gonna be able to completely ignore the fact of double Elam, and if you guys make it all the way to winners finals, what are you gonna do to prepare yourself for that long break?
Oh man. What was the last double? Okay, so you know Squid Junction, the double elim.
Oh yeah,
Well, we famously get out round 102. Like we just lose instantly, and then we go on a losers run. So double elim favors us a lot more than single elim. I'm gonna be real. So I'm just
All
hoping
right.
we get momentum and we go to finals. And if we
Yeah.
somehow make a winners run, during the wait time, we will probably just like do nothing. I guarantee you. We'll just all be full of tension.
Yeah. Trying to keep your hands warm.
Select the favorite music in the jukebox, so then nobody just plays the repetitive songs that play over.
Oh my god, dude! You should be glad you don't play with Silly Kitties because our captain just puts on the Bing Bang song over and over again.
I have a cool thing where I can just pull out the cord from my Switch headphone dog and not have to listen to it,
That is incredible.
and then just remember to plug it in for when a scrim happens.
The jukebox is a blessing and a curse because now you can listen to music if you want, but also in scrim lobbies, some teams like have waited to ready up to go put a new song in the jukebox. So it's and then I'll just see in the bottom left corner, Bing Bang or like some other song just come up and it's like, why? We're scrimming right now. What difference does this make?
gotta speed run the music, you know.
Yeah, I
Gotta
guess. I guess I'm just not in touch with the music, you know.
All right, Raise. Next time we scrim, if we ever scrim against each other, and you say this is our last game, I'm going to the jukebox and putting on Squid Sisters. Wave goodbye.
Okay, that's funny though. That's comedy. That's not like, oh wait, we're in the middle of a game. We're like 30 minutes into an hour-long scrim block. Let me go put on a random song.
Somebody tell me why the Squid Sisters, like in the newscast for Inkopolis newscast, is only a 15-second repeating song. It wasn't like that in Splatoon 1. Anyway.
They ruined it.
Yeah, also, you can shred your money really, really quickly in it. $100 goes down quick. My gosh.
Yeah. All right, a very off-topic question, not related to SAC at all, but it's funny because it happened in the last patch, so I'm going to ask it. Zenith, do you play table turf, or have you played table turf with another person since patch?
Oh, I have a teammate, our Stamper player Zengoose. He's like a tabletop fanatic. So I tried to pick up tabletop because I wanted to fight him, and I'm terrible at it, dude. Like I would lose to the baby jelly like 6 times in a row and then just give up. No.
That's valid. I'm not great at table turf either, so I feel you there.
I wish there was like a cheat code so I could just get better, but until then I'm just grinding my head into a wall. So.
There is. Do you spam big pieces or small pieces?
Okay. Do you know what C-Jet the C-Jet called? I don't have it memorized either, but it's like a long strippy thingy, and I love C-Jet, so I play that. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's optimal. I just like it.
This is where I could go like have an own podcast. Gene talks about table turf card podcast. My goodness.
You know what we should do? Do you know how some tournaments used to do turf for the initial counter pick? I think it was like Saturday Morning Coffee did a turf map round 1 for whoever got to start like the counter pick because they did counter picks for every like all 7 of their games in grand finals. You know what we should do now? Instead of turf, it should just be a table turf game.
Oh, like kind of like in basketball, the jump ball.
Yeah.
At least 5'5" me can win it because I'm actually good at table turf.
Yeah, like we should totally do that. At Nick, get on that.
It'd be a lot funnier than TOEFL. That's for sure.
Hey,
also faster. Make sure everyone, if you do table turf, make sure you set a timer so then little Timmy doesn't put it down on his controller and you're stuck here. And
wait, is that a thing that can
60-second timer on? Don't put the 5-second timer is stupid, or the 10-second timer is stupid. You don't have time to put a piece down. But the 60-second timer is like the GOAT. It's the real one.
It's the real one. All right.
It is the real one.
Well, we should probably move back towards SAC instead of just table turf ideas. Zenith, is there one thing in the patch that you think is kind of flying under the radar? Is there anything where you're like, I don't know how more people aren't talking about this?
Okay, this is definitely personal preference, but C-Jet. C-Jet is really fun, and you can spam like 10 reigns a game. So if you wanted like a backline player on a bad backline map, just play C-Jet. I guarantee you will get support.
That's based.
And like people hate Jet because of Splat 2, but it's pretty funny. Okay, you can just sit in the back and shoot people.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jet definitely got a bad rap in S2, but especially with how much faster S3 goes, Jet probably can play a much more socially acceptable style.
Yeah, you know, with the toxic miss, you can like go in and you can take a 1v1, just miss yourself, and boom, you win it. It's so cool.
That is, that is very cool. Also, you can do some wild stuff with Cloud.
Oh yeah, who would have guessed that a weapon that had missiles and Stingray in the last game was hated? But yeah, this game I do have to say the toxic miss plus the chip of the jet itself, and then have a rain cloud going. You could two-shot people and then you just watch them die to a toxic miss rain cloud.
Dude, and it's like that's one of those things where if it happens to you, it's just like, why did that work?
It works. It legit works. You can so hard defend certain maps and modes, map mode combinations with Jet. Just make sure to have those be able to spam rain clouds. Luckily, rain clouds aren't as easily spammed as missiles were in S2.
You know, Eotail clams. How when you're pushing it, you got to go up the ramp most times.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you just want to throw like double toxic mist and then cloud that, nobody's getting through. It's just a free win.
Yeah, you're just right. Because like just the constant chip damage from the cloud and then the speed and ink negation from mist just sounds like absolutely no fun to get through.
Oh yeah, no, it's hell.
Yeah,
nobody's enjoying it but you. Even your teammates.
That's a really good way to put it, I think. All right, so let's pivot back towards SAC, towards finals a little bit. If you had to guess, who do you think's gonna win it all? And then who's the underdog who you want to win it that isn't you?
For winning it all, obviously I'm gonna say Silly Kitties because I love this team. So I hope we win. But another good contender is gonna be Healthy Diet Food Groups, and I don't know, they're just really good. Like all their players are super good. I expect them to win if we don't. And then for underdog, man, it might be probably Rabid. They don't get talked about a lot, but like I don't know if you've seen Adapt play. Dude's a menace.
Yeah,
they could easily get a few upsets.
Yeah. So is Adapt like one of the main reasons why Rabid you think is so is flying under the radar, or the reason they could upset people, or like why Rabid specifically?
Okay, I have a lot of friends on Rabid, obviously, but Toro and Adapt, the dually squelcher slosher, it's just it counters a lot of things like shooters. What's a shooter gonna do? She's gonna get shit on. So I don't know. I feel like they'll comp. It's really unique, and it could definitely work if they get lucky and consistent.
You think they could catch the people off guard with the extra range and mobility, and then all of a sudden it's 3-0 and they're moving on to the next game before you even had time to adapt?
100%. I don't know if I can't think of a tournament right now, but they've had some nice runs just because people don't expect it. It's a great skill.
Running off meta comps like that, it's also really fun. They're fun. It's fun to watch. It's fun to play. So,
it was like Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Silly Kitties versus Rabid is always fun because we just hold forward the entire time. Like there's just 4 people on the game, just never going back. It's very fun to watch.
Just one of us will have to, what's the word I'm looking for? One of us will have to wane eventually. Someone will have to give up ground, and when you do, it's over.
Somebody's zinc tank's gonna go empty at some point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so. I would be excited to see that game, but you guys, both teams, in bracket wise, that could be a second round matchup.
Oh wait, really? Oh, let me check bracket.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it could. They'd have to win, and you'd have to win your matchup.
Oh yeah, we got this easy. Or we just both
Um,
lose.
That would mean Centopia / Watermelon and Healthy Diet Food Groups would have to lose their opening match. Which, if I'm taking a bingo card or I was a betting man, is not in the statistical favored odds. But you know what? They're stats for a reason. They're odds for a reason because the other options are still there.
Yeah.
And you never know. It wouldn't be the first time we've had like high level teams just flop on tournament day because they don't. Some teams, I gotta say it straight up honest. It's gonna lead into another question. Some teams they take a while to warm up. They need some of those quote unquote easy games to warm up. Do you guys feel like you're one of those teams that need a game under your belt, or if you like lose, your mental's kind of shattered?
Oh man. So again, with the mental, yeah, losing is definitely a bit rough. However, we're also pretty inconsistent and like not always in the bad way. Sometimes we just win shit we shouldn't. Sorry for swearing. I'm not sure if that's allowed, but
You're fine. We're PG-13 here. You get one.
let's go. All right. Yeah. So it always depends. Like this tournament we could start out, and if we lose, we go on a loser run. Simple as that. If we win, I'd say we're warmed up enough. So no matter what, we're gonna be warmed up by round 2. So I think it's fine.
Hey yo,
I like that. A little optimistic view towards the tournament as a whole.
Yeah, no matter what, you're gonna be ready. You got to be ready.
Oh, for sure.
and that was my final question. Raise, you got any more questions?
Ooh, okay. A final question. It's got to be a banger, right? Like I have to find something like really creative, just dig down really deep.
Like,
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of a good banger right now, but I can't.
Ooh,
No.
I have one. If you could change one part about SAC, what would it be and why?
Oh, that's tough. Wait, I got it. So we have never run into this issue ever. We always have enough people. But one thing I think would be cool, and I think you guys did in the past. I'm not actually sure. I've only played 2 seasons of SAC, but you guys should have like a verified sub channel. I'm not gonna lie, it would help a lot. Like my Sia, the team, they had to drop last tournament because there was no subs and they couldn't get any. So it's just unfortunate when that happens, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So possibly, I'm not sure how hard it is. I'm not a TO. Might be too long of a process. Might just be unconventional, but subs would be cool. Verified subs.
Interesting.
That's legit. That would just wouldn't that just be like a giant list of players that we've
Yeah,
in
basically.
the past?
Well, and that's kind of one of the reasons we haven't done it.
Yeah, it's just somebody has to type in a list. Say, yeah, they could be a sub, and then just say check mark for the next tournament. Tournament 1 would be difficult, but by the time you roll around tournament 4, that's actually the list would be good, and then we have to get rid of it until the next season.
Yeah.
You guys could do it like Low Ink does. Where most people do like the sub application and you just check mark it. Yeah.
Yeah, but they do that days in advance.
Yeah, good point. The SAC is a weekly, so
Yeah.
most of the time it's a weekly.
Well, and also one of the things, I don't know, I could just be like doing it wrong. Some of the teams feel a little touch and go, where it's like, oh wait, we have 4 people, let's play SAC. Oh wait, someone had to go get dinner. And like, which
Don't
makes
call me
things a
out,
little
Raze.
challenging to plan for.
Stop
No,
calling me out.
that's definitely accurate. I've seen it happen.
So that's also one of the other challenges where like a sub channel or something like that requires a little more forethought. Yeah. I think that was my final question. So I guess, Zenith, if you have anything you want to end off on, feel free to say that now. Otherwise, where can people find you, your teammates, and your team?
I don't think I have anything leave off on other than say good luck to the other teams. I'm on Twitter at Zenith_SPL, and so is Silly Kitties. Is just look up Silly Kitties, you'll find us. I think that's it, to be honest. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for coming. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for being here.
Oh yeah, man.
Have a good rest of your day.
See you guys around.
Yeah.
All right, and with that, Raze, we're getting in the final stretch here. What I wanna go after is we started talking about Zed Fry. That was the 1st thing I want to get to. Our weapons, our big weapons. Zenith put a really good point about Super Chumps. That is a weapon that we haven't really thought about. And looking at our top teams, I'm gonna be straight up honest. I don't see a Zap player on them. But then again, I don't know what they played in Splatoon 2.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Do you think we might have anybody rock one of the Zaps?
I think if we're going to see a Zap, it's probably going to be early on. I think because right now chumps are very unexplored in terms of actual tournament play. Like I've done a bunch of experimenting with them, so like I have somewhat of an idea of what they do, but they are still relatively unexplored because of how recently they came out. And there's still a lot of debate, even on like Twitter, with what is the best way to get value out of them. So right now, a pick like that, like with a new unconventional special, would be a little risky. That I would fully support that because, like we were talking about with Zenith, sometimes an unconventional pick can catch the enemy team off guard, and if they don't know what to do, they could crumble.
I don't say you absolutely cannot pick them into a slotling player. If you pick them into a spotting player, they're a worthless special. Hydra charges up and it goes, and they're all gone.
Yeah,
and Heavy doesn't even have to have a full charge. It can just throw Wavebreaker down. Same with E-Liter, Wavebreaker. It's gone. Everything's gone.
So the interesting thing with Wavebreaker into Chump is you need Object Shredder. If you don't have Object Shredder, you're not going to shred them in one wave.
E-Liter does it with Crab. Because if you don't, then you don't two-shot Crab.
Yeah.
So E-Liter will always have it, and Heavy is like 50-50, but now it's like dead confirmed that you kind of want it because one obliterates Crab if you have Object Shredder on it. Booyah Bombs you can shred through. Without it, you can't actually shred through a Booyah Bomb with one charge. So you kind of always wanted it on Heavy, and now that's really just made it like, yeah, you kind of have to run it because Super Jump's one Wavebreaker, then they're just gone. It physically makes it so you can't play it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Object Shredder is a good ability. More 11, like
I was gonna say, but then again, we get into the conversation: Stealth Jump versus Object Shredder, and it's nice to see. I think it was Ren who talked about it. It's actually nice to see having a shoe ability being fought for again. It's been a long time since we've seen like any main ability really being like, yeah, you kind of want to pick this. Like we'd come back in Splatoon 1, then then we didn't really have anything, and then we had LDE, and that's all you had to run on headgear. But in Splatoon 1, you had Splotlings and anything that kind of wanted to not get caught up in ink, run ink resistance, and then you had Stealth Jump. Those were your options.
Yep.
And then Splatoon 2, now that ink resistance was everywhere on anything it could possibly want to be on, we were just back to the Stealth Jump days. And Object Shredder was kind of useful sometimes on armor, but that was like depending on like specific.
It was very weapon dependent.
Completely depends on your weapon, which often found that if you had to run Object Shredder to get rid of armor, you were missing out on Stealth Jump, so just that weapon automatically became irrelevant. Unless your name was, I'm an armor weapon, it's on myself. That's why Zap and Junior could see it.
Yeah, I think there's a very interesting conversation to be had for Stealth Jump versus Object Shredder, but for a different time. Sniffer. Please bring Bomb Sniffer back, unironically. It probably wouldn't get played in competitive play, but like just think about all of the casuals it would save.
Just think of playing against Machine, Triple Splash, all the bomb icons you have on your screen.
Yep.
How many frames? Because we had no frames during. Yeah, all right. I don't think about that. Anyway,
yeah.
Zed-Fry. That was our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
A splash wall is insane on that weapon. Absolutely insane. A bomb is good, but in team play, you don't need a bomb on a charger as long as your teammates can help your ledges. And also, chargers face peak ledges now with wall.
Yeah. Well, so, and the thing to consider too is right now, like, I would say the meta is fairly certain triple splash. And Splash Wall eats burst bombs. Absolutely. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, second dinner, second breakfast, the morning after lunch. Like, it eats them up a lot. So, and that was the one thing that was really, really poking out chargers. So now the Chargers can actually have some staying power. They can sit in a position for longer with triple ink strike. That's really strong. Because there was a conversation where it's like, if Splash becomes not meta, does E-Leader just take over? And like that never ended up happening because Nintendo won't make it so Splash doesn't paint anything.
Mm-hmm.
But now on a more mobile Charger, that conversation I think should start coming back up more with will splatter scopes and even vanilla Chargers start taking over the game now that they have a kit that's much better at taking over the game.
Yeah, I feel like Zedfry is going to be seen. I saw it, and I saw my heavy kit, my original Jet Squelcher and heavy kit from Splatoon 1 go to the Kelp splatter scope, and part of me inside died, and another part of me who's like, I just want to play a backline weapon, was so excited. Like, that's how desperate us backliners are. It's like, we had E-Leader, but then as soon as they took away E-Leader from us because we were just getting abused and obliterated, we had nothing. We had heavy, which I'm like, quote unquote, heavy has, yeah, it has its issues.
Right. Well, let's
Kraken.
Kraken.
We have to go through with the 3 weapons. We have Splash Wall, 96 skill. I don't think we're gonna see 96 skill. I'm gonna be straight up honest. I don't think we see 96 skill in SAC. This is Splatoon Advanced Circuit. People who are coming up, people who are fresh, people who are young, people who are new. This is not Splatoon Retired Circuit, bro. This is not Retirement Home. If it was Retirement Home, we'd have a million people going, that's not, you know what this is? Zay, this is a Wii U. Wii U. Used to play this game. Does it have?
You should have pointed to the poster that's behind you.
That. Used to play it on this system. We used to have to carry, we have to carry these around with us at a LAN. LAN. And then plug all these in.
Yeah.
And then only have 16 of these in a room. 16 of them. Because if you had 17, they would just start going crazy. There's only 16 channels. So if you wanted to, yeah.
So now that you're off your rant a little bit, Kraken is very strong. Anything that makes you invulnerable by design is strong. I think the more interesting question is, do we think it got stronger moving from 1 to 3?
No.
I would argue yes. I think Kraken is stronger in 3 than it is in 1. Because in Splatoon 1, it was meta-defining, but it was not played. The reason being QR.
True.
So QR checked Kraken in terms of that fact, where it could kill you 5 times, but you were still there for the 6th. Now that's not necessarily the case. Also, Kraken does something really, really good to Crab Tank. It kills the rider without having to destroy the tank. Because when you charge up your Kraken and you pierce through, you'll slide through the Kraken and kill the rider on the back. And it also does that with, does it do that with Big Bubbler? I'm pretty sure it does.
Bubbler, well, you can shoot through the middle of Big Bubbler, but if the person's in it pierces Big Bubbler.
Yeah, okay.
But it doesn't care. Big Bubbler actually just doesn't care about it existing at all. If you spin around in it, it doesn't actually treat it as anything that exists on the field of the Earth. And it doesn't pierce Splash Walls and it doesn't pierce Rainmaker Shield. Because of how thick those things can be. If you're directly on your Splash Wall, it kind of can, but it slows you down.
It's a hit or miss. Yeah. But I think the big change is the fact that when you squid roll, it counts as an attack.
Yeah.
So what you can do is you can jump and roll really close together, and you can still get that same one-shot effect.
It's nuts.
And also, things like tower control, there is one counter to Kraken on tower. It is not Booyah. It's triple Ink Strike.
That's it.
And the one thing I've noticed is it could just be because it's so new and a lot of people haven't seen it. Kraken wrangling is a lot harder in S3.
People just don't know how to Kraken wrangle yet, bro. It's been it's been 6 years. The Switch has had its 6-year birthday 3 days ago. It's been 6 years since people played a Kraken weapon. And I hate to burst your bubble, but 12-year-olds who can be absolutely washing us in solo queue, and pretty sure they have a lot of times, weren't even in grade 1. The last time we saw a Kraken, not when Splatoon 1 came out, the last time we saw a Kraken.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Kraken, very good, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think we'll see any?
Okay, I lied. Clamblets, I feel like we can see them. It depends, because the big debate on tower control is you have your 2 splashes, you have your ink strike weapon. What are you running as your 4th? Is it going to be the machine, or is it going to be the gal?
That is the question.
That is your question. Do you want more consistent killing, or do you want, I get this checkpoint now?
So, something else to consider. I really like 96 into Splash.
Yes.
And again, this is coming from the perspective of a person. I used 96 Deco in S1 to get to S+.
Same.
So, this is coming from someone who's probably biased towards the 96 gal. I think it's a really good weapon. I think 96 will beat Machine against Triple Sploosh Machine, and I also think it beats Splash in
Triple Sploosh.
Did I say Sploosh? I meant Splash.
I've just ascended to the heavens. Raise confirmed Triple Sploosh.
Yeah, no, I really like 96. I think the one problem with 96 and the one point of adjustment that might not see it get play in SAC, but I think later on is going to not be much of a problem, is 96 can have some trouble keeping up with the current pace of the meta. Because right now, I would say the meta is very action-focused. I'm going to press as many buttons as I can, as fast as I can, and do as many things as possible. And that's not necessarily what 96 wants to do, is it wants to try to slow things down and use less actions, because it's the 96 gal. So I think that's probably why we're not going to see it in SAC, but moving forward, as the 96 gal players get better, I think you need to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's going to want to pick up if you see your local Splatoon retirement home, picking up a 96 gal player is actually a legit consideration. That's just me. Going forward with that, we do have some roller. I want to know. I know we do have carbon players, but I don't think they're going to swap over to Kraken roller.
No,
I don't think Kraken's that broken to make a carbon or 2 carbon 1 tricks swap over.
Yeah, I agree. And
no,
for the record,
Funky Evie said no. End of sentence. All right, GG, we move on.
For the record, Kraken's kit is really good. Kraken Beacon, I think, is fantastic. The one problem is that roller needs mobility. Otherwise, it loses to Triple Splash. And it doesn't just lose a little, it loses a lot. Because it gets turfed out of the map, and then its only way into the map is Kraken. Which is not great. Because then if they follow you, you instantly die, and you're back to square one.
Yeah.
I think if it's on any other weapon, that Beacon Kraken kit is insane.
Yeah.
Is probably one of the best kits in the game. But just Crack on Roller, I think, is a tough time utilizing it.
Ray's question about Clamblets. So we had Baller in Splatoon 2, which had health. Kraken does not have health. If you want to push the basket, you will push the basket.
Yes.
You have 8 seconds to do it.
Yes.
To get jumps in for your teammates. We realized that, my teammates and I realized that, and we're like, wait, this is just invincible Baller.
Yes.
How many times do you think we're going to see triple power climb dunk? Legit.
So considering how quickly it went out of style in S2, not very many.
Okay.
Because what we have to consider is the risk reward. Let's say in 3 weeks, the cracked 12-year-olds in solo queue learn how to Kraken Wrangle.
Yep.
And now that Kraken doesn't make it to basket and it dies, and now I know where the rest of the enemy team is.
In their spawn, holding power climbs.
Yeah, so you concede a lot of map control. Also, something to consider is, what if we ignore the Kraken and just run at the players with the power, or when that Kraken gets popped and it goes towards our basket, we run towards their basket. And if we have a power clamp, we're going to get ours in first, at least you can get yours in first before they can get jumps in.
Don't tell Gray about that one. Don't bring up
Like-
bad memories there. Did you see the last SAC? Wait,
No,
Matt.
I didn't.
Oh, we kind of had a moment where there was a basket running and a game got choked because of a basket run.
Ooh, yeah.
And also, you just like wholeheartedly agreed that you didn't watch the last SAC on the podcast.
Oops.
Anyway,
I was busy.
weapons aside, I know we're at 60, but we got to go here on Rays for the talking about these teams.
Yeah,
Mercy,
let's do some.
Syntopia / Watermelon. Those are those are our top 2. Healthy Diet Food Groups, top 3. Synergy, Armageddon, Rabid, Silly Kitties, Sanctuary, otherwise known as IDK, and those are our top.
Yeah. So
Predictions.
predictions. I think my money's on Mercy to win. I think
Really?
looking at how their results have trended in the past 3 tournaments, we talked about it earlier. They had some close sets in tournaments 2 and 3, and then I think they had a very dominant performance in tournament 4. And I think they're going to continue that dominant performance into finals. I think, at least the expectation for me, is my expectation is for No Mercy to be in grand finals, and then it to be a competition for who gets to face No Mercy.
All right.
I
agree.
think that's what it's going to look like. A lot of people have been saying healthy diet food groups. And I agree. I think healthy diet food groups is a strong contender to face and then beat No Mercy. The one thing I'm just concerned about is healthy diet food groups have a very predictable win condition, in my opinion. It is either Eevee or it is Blob. And if one of those players is not having a good day, then healthy diet food groups becomes a much more manageable team. And that's something that scares me a little bit and makes me want to lean harder into saying No Mercy is going to win.
I agree.
Um,
It's got to be early. Mercy's got to lose early.
yes.
If Mercy gets upset early, then I feel like they're out. Like if they lose round 1, they're done. They're not. They go
done,
0-2.
yeah.
They go 0-2. They don't go. They don't have a losers run. There is no losers run. They win round 1. They get some momentum. They keep going. I'm just straight up honest with you. I feel like the competition depends on Sanctuary. It truly does. Healthy Diet Food Groups were able to take out Mercy twice in one tournament before.
Mhm.
They're the only team to actually beat Mercy. No Mercy. They were the only team to ever beat them. And they beat them twice in the same tournament. It would take another level performance like that. But Mercy, they found a way to come back. It's going to be difficult. Overall, for me, the Syntopia Healthy Diet Food Groups game is going to be crazy because
for sure.
that set we tied. We talked about it a little earlier how it's 2-2. 2-2 overall, which I feel like they could play each other again, once on the winner side and then once on the loser side, which would tie it at. We could tie it at 6, or it could really swing it. Really swing it. Teams that I'm very worried about, and I'm going to call out. I got to look at Synergy standings. But if we can pull up those standings. Seeing a 150, then a 200, then a 65, and then a 20 shows a decline. It shows that is a 20 is a 20th place overall. That's a bronze. That's in a bronze there. It's gonna drop for Synergy. And I was hoping for tournament 4 to see them like at least have a bump up. I know they weren't fighting for anything, but not make bronze.
So I'm gonna step up. Do we think Synergy was like tapering, where they were not trying as hard to lower people's expectation of them so they can come into the finals and then try to exceed those expectations so they don't feel the pressure? Do we think they're going for some big Omega Brain strategy, or do we think they're just in a funk?
Their Galaxy Brain, that's what I'm gonna say. If they're Galaxy Brain, then they're Galaxy Brain, but they're I gotta be honest. That is 4 tournaments, and that is a funk. To be fair, we had different teams playing in it later on. but we truly will see. I feel like Armageddon has definitely a good shot to move on from their first round. They're another team that has like had some pretty high highs and some pretty low lows, as we can see by that 115-point performance down there. I know that was not a day for them, but they also for Armageddon, they have not beaten many top teams. Just many of our teams that are in the top. Let's go over it. Who have they beaten? They beat Silly Kitties, and that's it. That they beat Silly Kitties in Swiss Tournament 1. They've lost to IDK twice. They've lost to Silly Kitties twice more. They lost to Synergy. They have not. They've not been able to beat our top teams. They've been able to pub stomp, but not our other fellow top 8 teams. I want to see them pull up.
Mm-hmm. You want to see Armageddon put up results. I think that
first match is going to be good. It's Armageddon Synergy. On paper, it's two teams that have a lot of question marks. And the last time that these two teams faced each other, it was actually the reverse sweep for Synergy over Armageddon.
Mm-hmm.
In our first qualifier 1 in Grands, which was an insane set. But neither of those teams have reached up that pedestal again. So to see them go up against each other in round 1 top 8 is really fitting for them, so they get another good shot.
Yeah. Going into this finals, I think loser bracket is going to be much more entertaining than winner's bracket. If I'm going to be honest, I think loser's bracket is where a lot of our storylines are going to converge. A lot of those rivalries are going to happen. Because even talking today, like looking at the first round of winner's side with Silly Kitties versus Syntopia and then Healthy Diet Food Groups versus Rabbit, so depending on who wins and loses that set, if it goes just right, we're going to have a rivalry of the winner's side and then a rivalry of the loser's side.
Yeah.
So, and that's just going to be the case for the entire tournament.
It's awesome.
They're just going to be fantastic games to watch, to just be involved in. So, I'm definitely really, really glad that we're going to have a second stream for this.
Yeah,
for finals. Shout outs to Falco. Falco is going to be doing a second stream on Splatoon Tourney.
Yep.
For SAC finals.
I'll be there until that stream ends, pretty much, and then I'll be on mainstream. So I'll be there to help. And Raze, you might pop in here and there for that.
Yeah,
to help Falco out with just generalized things. Definitely have both streams open. 100% have both streams open. Watch the mainstream, because if you watch the mainstream, then it helps SAC more. More viewership, the better.
Yeah.
Because I know Nick wanted that to dangle over Popgun, because that rivalry was going on in the background last tournament for qualifier.
The SAC versus Low Ink friendly rivalry.
Yeah. But overall, I feel like of teams that are going to have a losers run, it's going to be Sanctuary, formerly IDK, and Rabid. Silly Kitties, I feel like they got a shot at taking their first round opponent. I feel like they don't actually go and lose a round to start.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I think the upsets, the teams that move on from round 1 are Mercy, Healthy Diet Food Groups, Armageddon, Silly Kitties. Those are our teams that win their first round. I know I'm going off the board and like, whoa, you're taking the 7th seed there. But I don't feel like Syntopia I don't feel like they're going to be one of those teams that plays like right at the beginning.
Also, you just went Canadian there for a second.
What? What did I do?
Oh,
eh?
Sorry, go ahead, continue.
Oh, sorry, eh? I don't know about that one. The other thing I want to talk about that I had in my notes is if you go up against Armageddon versus Healthy Diet, Armageddon, and then followed up by Healthy Diet Food Groups at any point in time, or reverse the order, and you win against the first one, you win against the second one. You beat a Carbon, you're playing up against another Carbon.
Mm-hmm.
You just had a strategy to beat a Carbon, you're going to beat the next Carbon.
Yeah, so you just have to... I never realized how many Carbon rollers are in SAC until looking at finals. But yeah, Armageddon and Healthy Diet food groups both having carbons means that the teams against them have two practice carbons.
You gotta, if you don't know how to beat a carbon, you're going to be out very quickly. But if you know how to beat a carbon, you will at least guarantee yourself some rounds at some point.
Yeah.
That's going to be a true thing. And I feel like that's a detriment to both Healthy Diet and Armageddon. And Mercy being one of our only teams that's going like true hard meta is actually playing a big benefit to them. Because normally what happens is in big tournaments, you have all these teams that like, I'm just thinking back to like majors and invite tournaments. I just watched Robbie on Brush just absolutely annihilate teams. You don't expect a Brush. You don't really know how to play against a Brush. It's not like a Brush is like the best weapon in the world, but Robbie's so good with it that he can kind of just like slap you side to side. It's a surprise factor. You don't face a lot of Brushes though. You face a lot of splashes and machines and whatnot, so you kind of know how to play against that. So the other teams who use that kind of just outskill you with weapons that are like that. It's when you play against not a lot of off meta really stops you hard. But if you get a lot of off meta, then it doesn't hurt as much. It realizes you understand why it's off.
Yeah. For certain. So
yeah, overall, my predictions are I think Centopia actually does make a losers run. I feel like they can make a losers run, face Healthy Diet food groups in losers finals. I know I just said that they probably lose round one, but I do feel like they make the losers run. If Mercy loses round one, I don't know if they're going to come back. It'll be very interesting to see. And it will be truly interesting to see because they haven't had to worry about a long wait time. And I know we're going to have a little bit more of that. So it's going to be seeing how hot people truly are going in. Yeah. But I'm so excited for this. This is the most work we put in for any SAC season.
Oh yeah. Also, something I would like to call out just before we wrap up: if Healthy Diet food groups loses their round one to Rabid, and then wins the losers round, and then Armageddon wins their round one against Synergy, and then loses against the winner of No Mercy or IDK, losers round two would be Armageddon versus Healthy Diet food groups.
Which is the first time it's happened all SAC season, which will be in losers round two, is that we won't.
Oh, we'll get it. Someone's getting it.
Yeah, it's gonna be on Falco stream.
Someone's getting it.
We're pushing it on Falco stream.
Yeah, someone should get that rivalry, but just it's going to exist, and that's something that I'm going to be excited for. If the stars align and we get that rivalry, that would be awesome.
You know what would be awesome to get that rivalry in winners finals, and then reset of Grand and Grand.
That would be wild. I'm really high on No Mercy. So because of how dominant they looked in tournament 4, but yeah, that there's definitely a place for stars align to be a really, really good finals.
It would be nuts. But yeah, I gotta say thank you to all of our teams that have just like played, and thanks for they've all been so cool. We've got so many cool things. I hope you guys enjoyed all the things that we posted on Twitter, those little videos. We're working hard to get the last couple of those put together. Yeah, get yours in. Come on, please. But yeah, everyone else has got them in. It's awesome. I'm so excited. We have a pre-show, so the tournament starts at 2 Eastern. 2 Eastern, right, guys?
I think so. Yeah.
It is the 11th, which is good because on the 12th, the time changes. And it doesn't change for Europe, so watch out for that. Changes in the 26th for Europe. 12 for us, 26 for Europe. So it's before the time change. It's good. Say goodbye to Eastern Standard. We're in the EDT on the 12th and after. But yeah. We're gonna have a half an hour pre-show before just to set the stage. Get clear with that.
Reintroduce all the teams playing.
Yeah, maybe capture the points that I didn't have. I told Raze we're gonna be here till 7. Raze said no. I want to sleep.
Yeah, we can't stay here all night. I got other things I need to do.
Well, now that I can start talking about Big Run while we cut off the stream.
Yeah.
No.
Let's not. We can do that if we need to kill time. Actually, that would be fantastic for broadcast. If you just want to kill some time, you can talk about Big Run.
I was gonna say there's so many other things that you kill time with during finals. There's no need for that.
Cool. So you can go tweet about Big Run then.
You want me to get canceled?
All right. I think this is probably the place where we should wrap up.
Yeah. Raise, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter, Raise_Splat, where I tweet occasionally, not that much. I'm also on Twitch, Raise_Splat. I have been streaming a little bit more recently, as I've been having to play a little bit more recently. So also find me there. You can also find some work I'm doing on IPL, like here on this podcast. And also I will be on SAC. So if you're interested in the stuff I'm doing, be sure to keep up with IPL. Otherwise, follow me on Twitter and Twitch.
All right. Come on.
Well, that's the wrong way. I'm not used to being mirrored.
Hey, yo.
Yeah.
Dubs. All right. And you guys can find me here. That's my Twitter. Take out the underscore for my Twitch and YouTube and all the other things. Yeah, I did Samurai and Big Run. I'm going to be doing table turf stuff throughout the week and getting ready for SAC. And yeah, just love Splatoon stuff. Thanks for everyone who's watched all of our podcasts. We've honestly had a blast, and I've been so thankful for IPL for giving us this opportunity and SAC for calling me on to do this. But with that, this is our final podcast before the pre-show of finals. And don't miss it. It'll be legendary.
Yeah. You won't want to miss it. I agree.